We are going to show you how simple and easy it is to install Kali Linux.
Kali Linux is a free open source Linux distro that is designed for cybersecurity professionals.
Like for computer hackers?
Not just for computer hackers, this is for network and security specialists or analysts. This is also for penetration testers, digital forensic specialists, and many more.
Because a lot of the cybersecurity tools are readily installed, right?
Absolutely.
So, how do we begin?
Well, there are many ways to install Kali Linux, but in our lab demonstration, we're gonna use Windows 2010 with host-based hypervisor, VMware Workstation.
So, what software component do we need?
Well, aside from VMware Workstation, we're gonna use 7-zip software and a Kali Linux installer.
Well, shall we start? I'm so excited.
Of course! Let's do it!
All right.
Now, we're gonna download and provision our client, our Kali Linux. So I have here a web browser and I will just point it to kali.org, specifically to the download page and specifically to the virtual machine part of this page. So we have a few options: VMware, VirtualBox, and QEMU. So what we're going to download here is the VMware 64-bit, this one. So I'm just going to click this icon to start downloading, and this is 2.6 gig file size. Alright, so it has starting to download now. So we are expected to download this file after 7 or 8 minutes. So let's just wait. Alright, now our Kali Linux has been downloaded successfully. And I also moved our Kali Linux 7-zip file to a specific directory. So this is the directory. Kali is the name of the directory under volume D. And this is a compressed file. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna decompress it using 7z. And how do we do this? Well, obviously 7z is already installed in my computer. And the next thing we will do is we'll just right click this file, and under 7z or 7-zip, I will just select extract files. Okay, and let me just move here. Okay, so this is it. This is our directory, and we're gonna extract all of the files into a new directory. This is the name of the directory, Kali Linux 2022 version 4. Now it's already 2023, but there's still no new version released this year. And the latest version is 2022.4. Okay, and let's check this directory. And this is where, okay, actually this directory in another directory, this is where our virtualization or VMware files are all residing. As you can see, there are too many. What will we do with this? Well, actually, the only important file for our provisioning is just one. So all of these, or most of these, are virtual machine disk. But what we're gonna use later is the VMX file, which is also the VMware machine configuration file. Now, let's go to our VMware Workstation. Okay, so we're here in our VMware Workstation and we're ready to provision our Kali Linux. So what I will do next is I'm gonna click File, and we're not gonna create new virtual machine, okay? Or we're not gonna select this new VM option. Instead, we're gonna select Open. Okay, and where are we? Well, we go to new volume D, and then this is the directory. Inside this directory, it created a new directory called Kali Linux 2022.4, and then another directory, and there you see our .vmx, or our VMware machine configuration file. Okay, and the other files are not available, or not even viewed. Why? Because this is not the supported files. Okay, so these are all VMDK. Okay, these are disk VMware files. The only supported file for this provisioning of our virtual machine is this, the .vmx. So I'm gonna select this, and now it's starting to provision. Okay, and as you can see, we already have our virtual machine. Okay, so we have 2 gig memory, processor is 4, what else, hard disk is 80 gig, the network adapter is by default NAT. We're gonna change this before we power up this virtual machine. So by default, it's not powered up yet. So I'll go to settings after right clicking this VM. And what I'm gonna do is I will click this network adapter. And as you can see, what is selected is NAT. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select bridged. And why is that? Because what we want to use is my local area network, which is 192.168.254.0. Okay, and this is where I will connect my virtual machines. Okay, so we can access it easily. So I selected bridged. Okay, and that's it. I'm gonna click OK now. And I will also select this virtual machine and click power on this virtual machine. Okay, and as you can see, it's starting to power on. Well, actually, it's now booting this virtual machine. Okay, so it's now booting up, and there you go. Okay, what we are seeing is our login prompt, and the username and password is Kali. Let's see. There you go. We are now successfully logged in. Okay, now let's check. I'm gonna open first our terminal emulation or emulator and see what IP address that has been assigned. If config-a. Alright, so what we have is 192.168.254.135. Where did we get this? Well, this is a DHCP client, and the DHCP server provide us this host IP address, which is 135. What we're gonna do is we are going to change this based on our topology. Host IP address should be .66. But before we do that, what I'm gonna do first is since later we're gonna access this via SSH, what I want is to enable our SSH, our service. And to do that, all I need to do is type system ctl status SSH. Let's verify first. Okay, so by default, Kali Linux doesn't start the SSH server, okay, or the OpenBSD secure shell server. So the status is inactive. Let's first start this. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just rerun this, but change the action. Instead of status, I'm gonna type start, and then it will ask us for the sudo password, okay, which is Kali as well. All right, so it has started the SSH service, and if I rerun systemctl status SSH, we should see this service is now active and running. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next is, after enabling our SSH service, I will change the IP address of our Kali Linux. So again, it's 1.35, right? And let's see if we can ping the internet. Let's say www.google.com. All right, so it's reachable. What else? what else? I'll ping also a public IP address, which is 8.8.8.8. Okay, this is a publicly available DNS server, so it's also reachable. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the IP address because we have a DHCP provided IP address. So to do this, all I need to do is right click this icon. This is the Ethernet network icon, or wired Ethernet network icon. Right click and select edit connections. Okay, upon selecting, you will have an option of this wired connection, and then I'm gonna double click it. This provides me an editing page for wired connection 1, which is the connection name. As you can see, the device name is ETH0, same interface name we saw in the CLI. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select IP version 4 settings, and as you can see, the default method is DHCP automatic. I'm gonna change this to manual. Why? Because we want to add a static IP address. So to do this, I need to click add and then type the IP address that we require. So 192.168.254.66, and the net mask is, you can use /24, or you can use also 255.255.0. The default gateway should be same network, but the host IP address is 254. Okay, and the DNS server is also .254. Okay, so I'm gonna click save now, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna hit X. All right, so if I rerun ifconfig-a, as you can see, the IP address hasn't changed. Not yet. And why? Because we still have to reset our network. Yes, for us to reflect the newly configured IP address, we have to reset our network. So basically, we need to shut it down and re-enable it. How do we do that? Okay, so I'm gonna click this icon. Okay, just click, not right click. I'm gonna click it, and as you can see, under wired connection 1, there is a disconnect option. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click disconnect, this one. Okay, and if I click disconnect, what will happen is, or before I click that, let me just ping 8.8.8 continuously, and then I'm gonna click disconnect. Okay, and literally it will disconnect the network. There you go. So it stopped pinging the destination 8.8.8.8. Okay, now I'm gonna reconnect this by clicking the icon again, the network icon, and then I will select wired connection 1. Okay, once selected, as you can see, it has resetted the network. It's now re-enabled and starting to ping again the destination 8.8.8.8. Okay, I'm gonna interrupt this because we want to verify our new IP address. Okay, so if I rerun ifconfig-a, as you can see, under ETH0 interface, we have now a new IP address, 192.168.254.66. We already tested that 8.8.8.8 is reachable, but we want to also test our DNS. So what I'm gonna do is ping again google.com. Oh, look at that. It is also reachable. So we don't have any problems with our network. What I'm gonna do next is I will test SSH. Okay, so I'm gonna open PuTTY. All right, PuTTY is open, and I'm gonna type 192.168.254.66. Okay, SSH by default, destined to TCP port 22. I'm gonna click open now. There. Okay, so there's a host key message. I'm gonna click accept, and I'm gonna log in as Kali, password Kali, and there you go. We are able to access our Kali Linux via SSH. No problem. Okay, last. What I want to do next is I want to disable this suggestion. Okay, so every time I type a command like ping or ifconfig, I don't want our shell suggesting the command and the subsequent command and options. I want to disable this, but how? All right, so what we want to do is we want to edit this ZCHRC file. Okay, and what is this? Okay, the ZSRHC file, let me exit. It's supposed to be sudo. Okay, there you go. What we want to is to access this ZSRH, which is basically the C shell configuration file. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I will look for a configuration settings. These are just few lines. I know it's somewhere at the bottom of this configuration file. So let's look at it. There you go. As you can see, enable auto suggestion based on the history. So we want to disable the auto suggestion. Okay, so it's very easy. All we need to do is comment out this configuration lines. Okay, so this will disable auto suggestion, and I'm gonna exit, save to the same file, ZSHRC, hit enter. There you go. So if I do ping, oh, there's still a suggestion, www.google.com. Okay, what else? All right, so they're still doing suggestion. And the reason why is because we need to close or exit this terminal and reopen it. Okay, so I just closed and open a new one. So let's see if there's still suggestion. Oh, no more suggestion. Look at that. If config ping, there you go.